So thanks to Nelson Homes sponsoring the Friday program. Dave Thomas first in studio beside me. Dave, the Combine. I had a chance to go check it out. Mm-hmm. To me, and again, first CFL Combine ever, looked professional.
Oh, yeah. Well run. Absolutely, for sure.
Athletes.
Yeah.
Athletes. Can the big guys move?
You know what? There were some guys they're moving quite well. Now, some of the 40 times looked a little bit off, a little bit slower than what they've traditionally seen. And when it comes to handheld and laser timing, of course, there's that whole debate that goes on. But for the most part, the athletes very much impressed. The talk from a lot of people was, boy, there's guys that are moving a lot quicker than we thought that they would. So that's a good thing. And the one guy that stood out for a lot of guys is Daniel Wiebe, the receiver from the University of Saskatchewan. And again, he's short on stature, but makes up for it in quicks, in hops. Again, he was in the top 5 in a couple of the speed drills. And then he went up and put the best bench press time, or best bench press for a receiver. So
there you go. How tall is he again?
I think 5'10".
I was going to say 11.
You know what? It all depends on who you ask and what day it is. I didn't see the official measurement from the CFL yet.
If he's got lifts in. Are you getting excited?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, we're still a couple ways away. Joining us out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, if you're watching the stream, Justin Dunk, another member of our Rider Broadcast Network team. Justin, you didn't make it into the Regina for the Combine this week, but you're probably following it pretty closely with your fellows from 3 Down Nation there as well.
You know it, buddy. Full coverage there, just like you guys are going to have on the SportsCage and SportsCage.com. For me, it's all about the Canadian quarterbacks, guys. Come on, you already know that.
Are you getting excited for Rider season, CFL season?
For sure, man. I'm honestly most excited about the Canadian quarterbacks in this class and see how they get into the CFL. But definitely, when we get there, I'll be excited for the Rider season and the CFL year to kick off in Regina, boys.
That's right. And that's the big thing. It kicks off in Regina. Rider Broadcast Network. Our team last year, everybody was saying best ever, but we had to add. We thought we sat down, Dave, Justin, and you guys are like, what's missing? Is there anything missing? And, ladies and gentlemen, joining us in studio here on the Sports Cage, she will be part of the Rider Broadcast Network team. Teagan Witko is with us.
Hi.
Teagan, hey.
No pressure or anything. Hey, well, someone's got to keep this all together, right? Someone's got to be the glue, make sure that we stay on track.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's my role.
Extensive broadcast career. We heard you in Moose Jaw, then we heard you here in Regina on the Wolf. Dabbled in TV. Now you're back here. And you are... I love this about Teagan. You're a sports fan, and you're a football fan.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so excited about this opportunity. I mean, you guys were talking about getting excited for the season. Let's see, 2 months from Monday? But who's counting? First preseason game. That's coming up in a hurry here.
Keeping it together. Right?
I didn't even know that. We don't even have that countdown in here. Now, the funny thing, Moose Jaw is where you were born and raised.
You're not born, but raised. Yes.
Your parents were Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans.
Yeah, I shouldn't have brought that up. I'm gonna get ripped for that one. But yes, going to the stadium, my parents were all decked out in their Bomber gear, and of course, I had to defy them in some way, shape, or form. So I was a Rider fan.
Are they still Bomber fans?
Well, my mom says she's on the fence now. She likes to cheer for both teams. Well, she's got to support me now, right?
I'm good with that. Now, tell me, what are you excited about when it comes to the season? I know you follow closely.
Yeah, I'm just, I think overall I'm excited that the core has kind of been maintained. There's also not going to be a ton of new names for me to learn, which is fantastic. But just building upon this Corey Mace era, for lack of a better term, I don't know, that the energy feels different, last season. And I think we're going to just build off of that this season.
So Justin, to you, last year was your first year doing the pre, the post, being part of the Rider Broadcast Network, adding Teagan. Just explain to the fans out there how this is all going to work. What are you excited about?
I'm just excited to have, a great view from Teagan's standpoint. And to be quite honest, guys, when you talk about wanting to be better, we had some callers call in that were females and said, well, how come you don't have females consistently on the show? So I think it brings a different, smarter perspective than most of the men out there, I'll say. And I'm excited because it's going to allow me to just focus on the things that I'll use Dave's term. I hate talking about myself, but I guess that I'm good at. So Teagan will take care of a lot of that stuff. And I just like her energy from talking to her just a little bit here. And I'm sure as we go on into the season and build a rapport, it's going to be great.
So pre and post game, you, Teagan, and Wes.
Yes.
That was the longest pause.
No, I was just like, I think that was my question. I wasn't paying attention.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. This is, you know what? I just learned what I think is probably the hardest job in the Canadian Football League today. And I'm sorry, like I'm totally going off the rails on you. But at the bench press, there's one guy whose solo job is to count 1, 2, and like, can you imagine doing that 92 different times? Like at some point, your mind's just got to wander, and you're going to be the guy that misses one. Anyways, yes, Wes Cates is going to be back. Luke Mullender is going to be back. We're the full roster. We wanted continuity, just like the Rough Riders.
And you, Teagan's going to be patrolling the sidelines at home games?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be all over the place.
That's got to be exciting. Like getting down there, although, it can be hot, it can be cold. You never know where you're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bring some long underwear and some shorts probably, because you just never know in a Saskatchewan season. It's it's going to be very exciting. That stadium in and of itself, it has like its own personality. It's the stadium that you hate until you're the home team. It's the stadium no one wants to play in. That energy is unmatched. So I'm very excited to be part of that.
Yeah, and super professional. Of course.
Yeah.
Everything Teagan does. We couldn't bring Wes in today. We just don't have enough mics.
Yeah.
But, we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. And Justin, to you, just having that, working with Wes, he's got that, laid back kind of feel, but he really gives you a perspective that, you played at a high level, but the perspective that a lot of people just don't get.
It's rare, man. And he's cool too. Like the more time I spent with Wes, the more I liked him. I knew how great of a player he was, but he brings you inside and does a really great job of connecting, his playing days and those experiences to what's going on in real time with the Riders. So that relationship with Wes Cates has been awesome. And you wouldn't know that he was a superstar CFL player, because that's the word of the day in the CFL, by the way that he treats everybody. He treats everybody just like he's a native Saskatchewanian, if I'm saying that properly. That's what really stands out to me about Wes. You can hit him with anything, even if you want to go off script, and he's ready to roll.
Well dressed.
Yeah.
Always too.
Nice kicks, right?
Yeah, like he's always just looks cool, acts cool, all that. So you patrolled a lot of sideline in your day, different, CFL, college ball, all that. Any tips for?
Always watch the play, because you don't want to be the storyline like the lady in Toronto last year who was holding the parabolic mic and wasn't paying attention and boom, got ran over. My first game, that almost happened to me. Well, absolutely. Just because you're so swept up in everything that's going on, you're like, okay, the play's coming my way. And it's like, oh yeah, the play is coming my way.
That's got to be hard though when you're kind of checking out the injuries or what happened there.
Trying to peek in the tent. And I don't want to be a viral video, okay? So I will definitely take that for what it's worth.
Have you talked to anyone else? Any tips? Have you been watching? Do you have a favorite sideline reporter?
Erin Andrews is a boss.
Yeah,
so I do
married to a Sasky guy.
I have to watch her very closely, because I do appreciate the level of professionalism that she brings, and she's quick, man. She's in, she's out, because I know Dave's not going to let me ramble on forever.
It's on me now. Jeez.
Hey, got to toss it right back to you, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good. I can handle it. You know what? I got to toss one to Dunk, though, because his name was brought up over and over and over again at the Combine. Jackson Tuszynski, quarterback for the University of Manitoba Bison, showed very well, and everybody was asking about what your take was going to be on the Canadian quarterbacks.
You guys don't have enough time for that.
Try us.
I will say real quick on Tuszynski, I've heard going into the Combine and his draft year some comparisons to a Chris Strevler. Now, he's not as athletic as Strevler was when he was coming up from the United States, but I can see it, a guy that could be a potential short yardage dude for you and have a chance to develop down the line. He has to get better as a passer, but he's just one of many quarterbacks in this class. I won't rhyme them all off and go through them all, but that are legitimate quarterback prospects. We're talking about Taylor Elgersma and Curtis Rourke that are likely going to get shots in the NFL. We have Jonathan Senecal at the Combine right there in Regina, who's won a national championship in this country and a Heck Crichton Award. You got Arnaud Desjardins, who now has 2 Vanier Cup rings to his credit. Keegan Hall, who was at McMaster University, transferred to York, has put up a lot of numbers. So this is a deep quarterback class, dare I say, the best in CFL draft history. I went and asked all the coaches and GMs around the league that. Some agreed, some said they're not quite old enough to speak to the history of it, which I totally understand. But I think it actually is. It just speaks, I think, to the proliferation of these athletes getting better at different positions. And I mean, to bring it back to the Riders, a guy that you can look at that's doing something special in 2025 is Tavon Campbell. There has not been a Canadian start at boundary cornerback since Davis Sanchez retired from the CFL in 2011. This is special stuff that's going on with Canadians in the CFL right now.
An athlete's an athlete, though. And when it comes to Tyszynski, depending upon which roster sheet you look at for the CFL Combine, he also is listed as a tight end. Now, I don't know if that's a slight on him as a quarterback, or is that just speaking to his athleticism? Because, of course, he did play basketball at the U of M as well as football. I don't know.
I think it's his versatility. Like you said, there's been talk about Chris Trevler being used in multiple different ways, sort of like a Taysom Hill role, who's with the New Orleans Saints. He can line up a quarterback, running back, tight end, and even split out sometimes. Now, again, Tyszynski doesn't have that top end speed, but he has that natural athletic ability.
When you look at the combine and then into the draft, Justin, from you, if you put your GM hat on, do you take best athlete available, or do you kind of what your team needs, the future? Are you going deep, dissecting it, or do you go best athlete available at that time?
That's the tricky part with the Canadian Football League draft, because if you're taking the best athlete, that athlete might have an NFL opportunity, right? Like, let's look at linebacker Connor Shea from Wyoming. He's not at the Combine, had a great pro day, put up a lot of stats with the Cowboys there at Wyoming, and he could have some NFL interest. You know, Darian Newell, the defensive lineman from Queens, is another one. Had an absolute freak show in the best way possible at the Buffalo Pro Day. Like, we're talking about a guy that's 287, running sub 540, and doing a bunch of other crazy stuff on the field. So you have to sort through that NFL interest, and then you can get down to your question, Barney. Are you taking the best player, or are you taking the position fit?
Okay, I'm going to throw this to Teagan, right? So, obviously, we all paid attention to last year's CFL draft. And last year, arguably, the Riders had a very, very good draft, albeit their first-round pick doesn't come. Am I wrong in saying that Ajo was not the best draft pick that the Riders had last year when you look at him in the 7th round?
Yeah, I mean, that's a wild situation there, too, right? Because he's also Indianapolis,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
I mean, good players get scooped up. You can't always guarantee that that's what you're going to have long term. It's the unfortunate reality.
He was there today.
Yeah, he stood by me at the bench press because he wanted to see if anybody could get past the 12 that he had last year. I'm like, so are you like going to start booing guys or what? No, he wasn't.
He's not
doing
competitive
that.
at all.
But he was there with Deshaun Mims, Jacob Brammer. There was a number of Rough Riders there that were just seeing what was going on.
Counting in that guy's ear. 7, 10, 11. Right on. Okay, Dunk, well, before we let you go, you guys are going to stick around. I heard that they do have a new commissioner. They just haven't announced it yet. Anything on that front?
Man, I think it's moving that way. Let's say that.
Ooh. That is called playing your cards close to your chest or vest region right there. All right, Justin, thanks so much for taking some time this afternoon, and we'll chat with you in a couple weeks.
You bet, man. Excited to get after it this season with Teagan and Toe leading the way.
Yes. Justin Dunk, part of our Rider Broadcast Network team here. We'll go to break. Here, Dave Thomas still here, and Teagan, the new member of the Rider Broadcast Network team, will be doing post-game show and sideline. You're going to be putting on miles.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be figuring out the sneaky elevators to take to get down.
Make friends with all the security guards. Try to find as quick ways to get there, and comfortable shoes.
Smart. Yeah. What kind of footwear did you wear back in the day?
Actually, the one thing this isn't a joke, like get thick-soled shoes. Because when it's
like Jimmy on Seinfeld had?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But like literally do it, because when it's 30 degrees, the turf is probably going to be 42, 45 degrees, and you'll burn the soles of your feet. I did that Labor Day in 2011, I believe it was, and
Okay.
and no, like I could barely walk, and I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like something is wrong with me, and they're like, well, were you down under? And this is the old Mosaic Stadium, right? It's the old turf at Taylor Field, right? And
Melting your shoes.
They said no. Look at your feet, and so my feet were definitely red because they were burnt.
Burnt the soul. Isn't that a country song? Somewhere burnt
could
the
be.
souls of my
Could
feet.
be.
We got a few text messages on the Prairieland Rentals text line. Since 1986, big jobs, small jobs, you get to deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street here in Regina. Brandon, big Rider fan, always texting in, especially during Rider season. Awesome, guys. My wife said that was what the pre- and post-game show was missing, taking an awesome show even higher.
No pressure.
There you go. And then Kelly, so that's Kelli in Calgary. Whoa, what an addition. So happy to have a female back on board. Welcome, Teagan. I'm a longtime female listener, and it's like Christmas Day. Yahoo. Kelly, and see, look at
Hell yeah, that's great.
There you go.
I love to hear that.
936-6262 if you want to pass on some nice words to Teagan here. Okay, so what favorite Rider memory for you? Like, I'm old, so for me it's always 89.
Yeah.
Because I was a youngster, and it's like, whoa, the Riders won.
Yeah.
For you, what is it?
Well, there's been a couple wins since then.
Yeah.
2013 sticks out in my brain. So that is actually mine and my fiance's anniversary. Kind of, well, we started dating, but we didn't really have a firm date. But that was when I met his parents. Oh. So my in-laws. And we couldn't get a ticket to the game here, so we watched it in Moose Jaw at their house. I don't know if you remember that game. It was high scoring for the Riders.
Shootout.
Like 45 points.
Yeah.
And his dad, my fiance's dad, was pouring shots every time they would score. I don't remember the fourth quarter necessarily. Granted, this was in my 20s. I think I was 20 years old. And, oh, man, I could not do that today.
Shots of what?
I think it was whiskey.
Oh, hardcore.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Oh, Dane.
Dane?
Dane.
Let's give him a shout out. Whiskey shots. I thought you were going to say like something easy like Butter Ripple.
Butter Ripple schnapps.
Yeah, something.
I'd probably get
Hot
a cavity.
100.
Oh.
Hot 100, but yeah, whiskey.
Yeah.
It's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, the first three quarters, very, very memorable.
What's your favorite memory? I've never asked you this.
2013 is up there as a broadcaster for sure. I got to do the sidelines of that game. The other one that really stands out was years ago, and it's going to drive me nuts. That I think it was 93. It might have been 94. Was when there were still American teams in the league. And you remember the Riders, again, it was just, at that point, it was just so cool to go to the game, and they just let everybody in, right? So, like, Hemorrhoid Hill would be packed always on Labor Day, right?
Yeah.
And there was 50-some thousand for the Sacramento Gold Miners. David Archer was the quarterback, and they came in, and it was a last-second kick, game won by kicker Dave Ridgway. And the fans we were storming the field because we were, like, basically we were standing on the sidelines because, hey, you got whatever, come on in.
Like a college game.
Go. Yeah, it was terrific.
That's cool. I actually, 89, but when they beat Edmonton to get to 89,
yeah,
because Tracy Ham, Gizmo, we had no business going into Commonwealth and winning.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wow, we get to go to and then that's when Skydome was just opening.
Yeah.
People were taking buses from Saskatoon and Regina all the way. It was crazy. So you talked about this year, and just you don't have to learn a lot of new names, but there is so much excitement out there. Like you must talk to a lot of people as well. It's with Mace and the culture and Mueller, and then Harris, and just the group coming back. Like the excitement is something special.
You know what? I'm fortunate enough to actually be the in-game host for the Regina Pats, so I have an opportunity to speak with a lot of season ticket holders and have conversations, and just the excitement generating around the season is unlike any other off season that I can remember. Just in speaking with casual fans, I myself, up until this point, casual fan, I am pumped about this upcoming season. I think no one expected the West Final last season. Let's go even further this year,
What are you hearing out there?
There's a lot of excitement because from what I hear, people believe that the needs that the team had last year that might have been deficiencies have been addressed. The needs that some are identifying, and this is not Dave Thomas, this is me reporting, but getting a more improved pass rush, a more consistent pass rush. You bring in Mike Rose, for example, right? That's a pretty good guy right off the hop. And then you got some other guys that follow, like Shane Ray, right? Like the pass rush has been identified. The ratio is going to be changed when you bring in Tavon Campbell, right? You heard Justin Dunk talk about it, and it's absolutely true. It's a position that not a lot of Canadians start. So that's a ratio changer. So there's a lot of optimism in that and stability, right? Because a lot of times in the past, right, when you're not winning, you got to make changes. And when you are winning, you can go ahead and start to build on that. And that's why the term consistency has been used by quarterback Trevor Harris, the fact that the core is coming back, and it's an all for one, right? Everybody's going to go ahead and they've had to do their part. Some have had to adjust their contracts or whatever the case may be, but they're all in.
Yeah, it's an exciting year coming up. So excited for you. You'll be nervous that first game, right?
Oh yeah. God, I was nervous coming in here today.
This is a circus.
Well, I've learned that very quickly. And man, are these lights ever bright?
Yeah. Well,
now I know why you guys had a fan outside the room for a while there.
Let's not even go down that. The temperature in this room over there. Teagan, this is awesome. Like I said, I know because we talk in the hallways once in a while. You're a Bengals fan. Which,
hey, whoa.
Yeah,
easy.
They're spending money weirdly.
Some crazy contracts, yeah.
But you're like, you're a football fan, and you get it. So I think this is a great addition to the team, just front to back, Dave. It's kind of like the Riders, right? Like year one, team was awesome. Little addition here. They're running a parallel.
Well, and if you missed any of it from last year, go to our YouTube channel, right? And you can actually follow along everything that was done last year. It's an exclusive video opportunity. You hear it, of course, on the radio as you're driving into the game. But again, if you're getting ready for the game, you can go ahead and you can watch. You can see some of the guests. Like Randy Ambrosi announces his retirement. 90 minutes later, he's on with us on the pregame show. So, again, it's a standard that has been set by people way better and smarter than me, and I'm just happy to be part of the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the team, Justin Dunk, Wes Cates, Colson, unbelievable job producing.
Yes.
Curtis and Ryan in the back end, making sure that those guys, because when people don't see it, they don't hear it. We're going off the air, and then they're going to like a standby, and they're getting batteries. And then the other thing too, all the time is the visiting teams. When their stuff goes down, they have to go and scramble and get them back on the air.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, kudos to everyone on the Rider Broadcast Network team. It's going to be a lot of fun. Teagan, thanks for staying late and coming in here to the circus.
Oh, thanks. No, I appreciate you bringing me on. This was a lot of fun.
You're going to be on lots.
No, I'll have to do this again sometime.
We need the dirt from the sideline. What did you hear? Peeking in the tent. I like that move. That'll be good.
That's yeah.
And Dave, you're back to the Combine. Not today, tomorrow.
I will be there. Yeah, they're just wrapping up the bench press right now, and then they'll be back on the field tomorrow and on Sunday. And tomorrow's going to be an interesting day because there's not a lot of hitting, but it's going to be physical. I'll let you decipher that. So, and then we got 2 interviews coming up. Mark Killam from the Edmonton Elks. You talked to him, and then what's the other one? Then Chase Tataran. He's from the University of Alberta. He's a linebacker. He is an amazing pass rusher. And I was actually talking with one of the U of A broadcasters who heard that he was coming on today. And so he said, you're going to have him. He goes, to tell you the truth, we don't do him justice because he kicks around. I'm sorry, I'm reading my phone. He kicks around all game long. And the next thing you know, he's got 8 tackles and 2.5 sacks. He just does it quietly. And he's one of those guys that I think is going to garner a lot of attention.
Again, thanks, guys, for stopping in. We'll go to a quick break, come back.